Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jade, and this is How to App on iOS. And today, we're going to be hanging out with Christian Bishop. And we're going to kick off with one of his tracks from his band, Bacchus Harsh. This is Salix Babylonica. Hello, welcome to the show. Hope you're all doing well. That was Bacchus Harsh, and if I'm saying it correctly, Salix Babylonica. Is that right? I think I said it right. Who knows? Christian has always been an incredibly crazy artist who writes really incredibly crazy stuff. Probably why we've been friends for such a really long time. I hope you're all doing well. This is How to App on iOS. Thanks for joining me today. If you're watching on the replay, hello to you. If you're here in the live chat, hello. We'll get around and say individual hellos to you a little bit further on in the show. But, if I'm coughing a little bit today, I'll be muting a fair bit because I'm still dealing with the plague and all that stuff. But we're almost out of the shadows and into the light. So this particular artist, let me give you some backstory, is a long time friend of mine. We've known each other for a very long time. We've performed in quite a few bands together, and he has gone on since doing stuff with me to be an incredible artist himself and making some really unique sounds, touring the world, and is an incredibly amazing artist as well. So not only is he a musician, but he is an all-round creator, and that's what we love on this show. So without further ado, let me make sure I've got all my shit together here. I would like to welcome, and I'll let you know, guys, the last time we actually caught up was at an FMC reunion in 2007. So that was the last time we actually saw each other face to face, because this artist was in FMC, Filthy Maggoty Unt. And it's so good to see him today. We've had a catch up before the show. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the amazing artist, all the way from Melbourne, Australia, who had to get up very early today. I'd like to welcome to the show, Christian Bishop. How you going, Christian?
Hey, Jade. What an introduction. Thank you.
All lies.
And hello, everyone.
All lies, of course. No. It's really good to see you, my friend. Super stoked to have you on the show, because you have always been, to me, somebody who I look up to just for being absolutely one of the most unique artists I've ever known. You continuously break the mold. You take no shit, and you just make, and you don't have any preconceptions of what art should or shouldn't be. And I just love that. I think that's a really awesome quality to have. So
thank you, Jade.
I can't wait to share more of who you are today on the show. So enough licking your ass. Because there's probably going to be a fair bit of that. I want to ask you the question I ask everybody who comes on the show. First question: what does music mean to you?
It kind of, for me, it blends in through art, and it's a form of expression that I feel is quite untapped, but is just a huge, massive universe of different ways to communicate and tell stories.
Has music saved you at any time in your life? Has it been something that's got you through to the next level that you needed to in life?
Yeah, look, I feel like for me, music has been on autopilot a bit. It's just something that I've always done. There were a few quiet years, kind of mid 2010s, that I wasn't really sure what I was doing with it or where I was going. But yeah, same with visual art. There's always been times where I have no idea where it's leading me, and but in some ways it's it's totally saved me. It's been a staple, or something that I've just been able to kind of, it's just been there for me, I guess. It's something that I haven't even really questioned why. It's just a way of being, I guess. It's a way of expressing and sharing things with the world that are kind of a little hard sometimes to talk about. And so, the visually and sonically, making art, sharing art is just, is just another way of communicating complex or um, special ideas that you have about the world.
Yeah, I've always loved the way you incorporate music into your world. I mean, so a little bit of background for people. I met Christian in my teens. My family moved to this little country. I guess we call it a country town, do we? Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess so.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I guess so.
It's kind of like it joined to the city now, but
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I always describe Bacchus Marsh as a place where it takes a day on horseback to get to.
Yep, and it's we've this we could tell you some stories about Bacchus Marsh. It's a wild place. If you're a skater at the time when we were young, the footy players really loved you.
Yeah.
Um, has it? Have you been back there since?
Yeah, yeah, I go back there quite a bit. I had family there for a while, but I've got some friends there that I catch up with, and but yeah, I rarely see anyone else there. It's changed a lot. A lot of people have moved on, but yeah, it's. I think it's a pretty isolating place. Growing up there, and as you know, and I think that it was kind of paramount to creativity because like what are we going to do? We'll go down and busk death metal at the post office. Like I mean, what else can you do there? Make music, make art and annoy people. So yeah.
Cold Acres chimed in and put in the chat there. Bacchus Marsh is a hole.
Awesome. Yeah, it's in an extinct volcanic crater, so it is total hole.
I remember when I first moved there, it was like the signs because for those of you who don't know, you drive through this huge like road that has like apple orchards and stuff, and it seems so beautiful. It's like a scene from some beautiful movie, and then you get there and go, "What the fuck is this Twin Peaks?"
Yeah.
And I shouldn't piss on it because it's where I met you, and it's where I met a lot of really cool friends. And it's where like a lot of our musical ideas like came to fruition too. So speaking of being a young and in Bacchus Marsh, do you recall the music that was played in your household growing up? And did it influence you? Who were some of the artists your mum played when you were growing up?
Yeah. Look, it was totally influential. Mum and dad every Sunday would do kind of a sound clash, a battle where dad would have a beer and he'd start playing records, and mum would have a gin and tonic or a brandy, and she would kind of battle him back. And dad would be he'd play like a lot of kind of Oz rock and yacht rock, and then mum would sort of counter that with kind of a bit more sort of soul and disco. And so there was always this kind of like clashing of styles, and dad would teach us how to dance, which was pretty much like a 1 foot stomp with a beer in your hand. And mum was always like, no, you don't teach these boys how to dance like that. They need to move their hips, So yeah, so it was always this kind of like really fun sound clash of music, like a bit of a track for track, or like I'll better up you on this track sort of thing. So yeah, that totally influenced a lot of my music early on in the sort of sporadic kind of jump around nature of the music, and this kind of good versus evil, or this like noisy versus the picturesque. So yeah, it had a huge influence, and I often think back to kind of how fun that was, as a way to be introduced to heavy or light, or rock or disco, or these opposing things that seemingly weren't meant to go together. And I guess as a musician, um, and an artist, is a way, using polar opposites as a way to blend things in is a really exciting way for me to tell stories, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you also recall the first album or CD or cassette, whatever it was, that you were given as a gift, and the first one that you purchased?
Yeah, I think I gave Dad some money to get uh I had a few singles, but I remember he got me I really liked, I can't remember the artist, but you know the song Abracadabra?
Oh
I
my
want to
god!
I want to
I
reach
wish
out and grab you.
Abra, abracadabra.
So that was, yeah, that was one of the early songs that I bought the the 7-inch for. I don't have it anymore, but
Oh, that's a
um
shame.
no, I know, I know. I've yeah, so yeah, that it was probably, yeah, that was definitely the first.
See, now I want you to do a remix of Abracadabra on your next
I
Bacchus Hush album.
I can't believe I haven't already
I
done it, you know.
know. What's going on?
Yeah.
Um, let me get my shit together here. All right. So, I know when I met you, I was still in school. So, I can't remember if you were still in school. And guess we all were. Yeah, I think we were when we all met. It was like late teens for me, I think. My family moved to Bacchus Marsh. Did you have any lessons for music when you're in high school? Or let's go back further. What about primary school? Were you forced to play the recorder like everybody else?
Um, yeah, I did a couple of like kind of classes in primary school for music, and I never really picked up on it. I was never very good at it. And so, I remember being kicked out of the, music classes because I would be the one playing the one note in the same rhythm as everyone else. And just being a bit of a prankster and a trickster, I yeah was always kind of fooling around. So no, I didn't really learn any music when I was young, and I think I bought myself my first guitar, and that led to the electric guitar, and then some pedals, and and then from there, I was pretty much self-taught. I looked at a lot of like basic music theory for guitars, tablature books, and things like that. Then, but then, yeah, I learnt quite a bit just through books, and then yeah, years later, I went on and had studied, which I think you remember, the big band jazz arrangement course
Absolutely.
that I was doing at Melbourne Music Academy, and that was yeah, that was like a real total step up. And but it was funny because around that time we were doing a lot of recording together, and with a whole bunch of other weirdos, and so, we were doing that, we were looking at more interesting ways that, we engage with people. So, like John Zorn's Cobra that we were playing, and, where we'd hire a rehearsal room, and, there were times when, oh, was it like 15 or 20 people were
Fuck
there?
yeah, man. Yeah.
And
Half,
yeah,
most of them we didn't know, and we didn't know their musical skills.
yeah, I think people were really shocked. And so, but it was a really, yeah, fun way to look at how we play music, and whether, you play something, sheet music that's in front of you, or you play something from memory, or, you let your, fingers or mind wander, and explore kind of improvisation, and music through that way, which you know I think you learn a lot from just exploring things without rules or boundaries. And so that's kind of where it all led to. And then I think after this big band jazz course, which I did for a couple of years, and I think after that, learning to write and arrange for 20-piece jazz bands, that I just got a computer and just made music with a computer, you know. And I think things quietened down with all the band stuff that we were doing, and I just kind of like went into solo writing music on a computer. So it was kind of interesting going from composing for 20 people to just being on your own and doing it yourself. But I mean, a lot of the earlier music, or a lot of my music has this kind of orchestral element to it, as much as it has a noisy element as well. Yeah,
Yeah, I remember they were really bizarre times. So we had two kind of bands. Me and you, we had Utensils, which is still going,
yeah,
FMC, which is still going. I'm still carrying on those things, and then we would come and pick you up. I remember we come to your big band jazz thing where you were conducting and stuff. And,
yeah.
and like there you are conducting these big bands, and then you'd come back with us and sing songs about having sex with seagulls, um, and then we'd go and play these gigs where we just do the most utterly idiotic things on stage. I mean, they were fun times because we were challenging a lot of people's expectation of music. And back then, what was that? So 1999 to early 2000s, it was a totally different world. I mean, a lot of the stuff we were doing in FMC, we probably couldn't do these days because we'd be cancelled within seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, I've gone back and had a listen, and totally, inappropriate nowadays.
Absolutely. But I still continue to be inappropriate, but there is a limit now. I do actually have a filter. Some of the stuff we did in FMC was like, yeah, it was full on. Like we were talking about. Well, all right, we'll get to FMC because I want to talk about your art as well too. Because not only were you doing like big band and stuff, but one of the first things that drew me to you as an artist was your art, because you are a painter. And that's what I first remember about you. And I just remember coming around your house and always being blown away by the ever evolving art that was, one of my favorite ones was that it was like that rat cave one.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was actually called, but so. You clearly you're still doing art. So when was it you started realizing you're an artist? Like at school, did you do art classes, that kind of stuff?
Um, yeah, not really. I think a lot of it was living out in the country and being really bored, and drawing for me was a way of communicating. I would draw stories where some of my early kind of stories were, I'd draw a castle, and then I'd draw like a battlefield, and I'd draw all the soldiers, and I'd draw the trajectories of all the spears and arrows. And by the end of it, the paper was just totally like you could not tell what it was anymore. But it was this kind of you know way of temporal way of amusing myself. And I don't really know. I don't really know how I sort of picked up the skill in representation through painting or drawing. It was just something I did a lot, and I think if anyone does it, it just takes time, and you become quite good at it mostly. And so, I mean, I kind of went after that, and sort of studied at RMIT in the early 90s. And, and then I actually went back to uni and finished off my degrees around 2010, and continued on with my honors. But I guess for me, one of the things I wanted to do was sort of conceptualize ideas better. I didn't really want to draw things any better. I just wanted to have ideas and communicate things that were kind of complex, and so I think I shifted from sort of representing something as in a realistic depiction to something much more kind of abstract and metaphysical. And yeah, so I don't draw so much anymore, but I think drawing was just one medium out of many. Using a camera is one. Sculpture and binding sticks together is another. Playing an acoustic guitar, or using a sampler, and sampling music is also another medium. So yeah, it was just things that I persisted with and spent a lot of time doing. And a lot of it early on was boredom. Being bored in
Yeah.
the country. It's like, how many spiders can you catch? Or how many eels can you catch? Or bats. So yeah, drawing just became another way when that you would amuse yourself. So yeah, I mean, I really appreciate being, having the opportunity to learn theoretical stuff, but most of it has been so I can kind of break those rules. And same with music. You learn boundaries, and then where you can go to, and then you just keep going. So yeah, that was pinnacle to making art, making music.
This is a piece of art you did. This is
Yeah.
for my old band Despised. So this was like
Wow.
these little worms into tiny. This was like a grey lead drawing, I'm pretty sure. And this
Yeah.
was our demo cover back in 1993.
Wow.
This isn't available on iTunes, but I have it in my music thing. I still have the original artwork of this too, but everybody always went to you. I remember for like art when we were young to be like, oh, can you? I think this cost me like a 6-pack of beer. I think.
Yeah.
Christian would just draw us some artwork for our demo for 6 beers back in the day. So what I want to do now is I'm going to play this clip, and then we'll come back and say hello to everybody. Let me just cue this up because I'm such a pro. So this is a live stream you did. You want to tell us a little bit about this? This is Bacchus Harsh. So this is your newest project. This is done in September 10, 2021. This is the Steam Clash set. You want to tell us a little bit about how this all came about?
Yeah. So the crew that organised it were, yeah, we often had put me on for shows over the years, and so they invited me to come on during the pandemic when no one could do shows, and it was a bit of a struggle, to be entertained by someone. So yeah, I was invited to put on a live set in my lounge room, and I thought I'd take it to the next level and get a little bit theatrical with it. Uh, there was a bit of like arm hair singeing, and
Yeah, a lot of candles.
yeah, and but yeah, it was a really fun way to engage with people, and like you've got here, a chat with people. It was just gave this really nice real time element to it. Doing something live is so special, and whether people are you know just chatting amongst themselves, or whether they're commenting, or what, it's just so nice to see people engaging. When you've just been in a really hard lockdown. Probably what was it the longest in the world that we had
Oh
here?
man, it's like 2 years. It felt like 3, but yeah,
Yeah,
we copped it bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the backstory to the video there. Yeah, I
Oh,
don't know what the neighbours thought because I live in an apartment.
yes, I think that every day, and then think, oh, who gives a fuck? So there's no real place for me to cut this off, so I'm just going to play from the beginning, a section of it, and then we'll come back and say hello to the folks in the chat. So kick back, folks. This is, let me bring this up. This is, so it's a live set, Stream Clash 6, September 10, 2021. And enjoy. And I'll just mute everything, and we'll see you back here shortly. We're going to come back to more of this because it is absolutely incredible. Let me come back here. And I'll bring Christian back in here. Man. Sick stuff, dude.
That
So
was
much
like
fun.
200 days of lockdown or something by that stage.
Well, that's how this show started for me. You know, I was starting to go mental. I was like, I got to do something. But absolutely brilliant. I didn't even know this existed until you sent it to me with all your promo stuff. I mean, I've been into Bacchus Harsh. So tell us, how do you describe Bacchus Harsh? What is Bacchus Harsh?
Well, I kind of wanted to. That's a good question. It's I mean, for me, the music is. I remember my very first rave, and I would have been maybe about 18 or 19 years old, and I went to a bush doof, and I was walking. I was walking towards the party, and I just remember hearing this amazing music, and none of it was in time, and it was just really abstract, and the anticipation grew. And then when I finally got there, I came out onto this clearing in a forest, and there were like, people twirling fire sticks and breathing fire, and people were jumping around, and there was these, there's all these theatrics, and it was incredible. But the music, I realized, was what I was hearing was two different stages, and I thought that was incredible. And then when I came onto the clearing and heard the one stage, I was really disappointed. I guess what I'm trying to do with the music is create that kind of layering of things like polyrhythms and playing with timing and creating a journey where you're in between two different things. And so I guess I don't know if that really answers your question, but it's to me it's recreating that moment of hearing multiple things and not being quite sure what they are, but being drawn to it. So look, I mean, that was a big influence, and it has always been in my music. But I guess in terms of Bacchus Harsh, I wanted to explore sort of like historical samples and things from like movies and stuff that I've always been into. So drawing from sort of sonic influences from horror films and folk horror films of the 60s, 70s and 80s. I use a lot of sampling from that. and I kind of mix it with what I believe to be, a more sort of percussive element that sort of tells a new story. It takes something old and then combined with something new creates a whole new story. So I guess these kind of occult and horror film samples with something to bounce off this psychedelic element of the past and mix it with music of now, which is the more percussive sounds. A lot of the synthesizer work I create as well. So as much as there's sampling, I also sample myself. Sampling for me is a really fun way to I find create music and sounds, new sounds. Using old sounds and recycling them and changing them.
Well, you've always been somebody who's fucked with music totally. And I remember when we were first doing utensils, we were fucking with technology back then, and we were using like Music 2000 on PlayStation. To make, and even when we were in FMC, we didn't have a drummer. We had a friend who wore a stupid mask, and we had a PlayStation on stage with a TV, and he would just hold the controller and hit X for every song, and that was our drum beat for FMC. We had a fucking PlayStation using this old PlayStation game, Music 2000.
Yeah.
So you've always been someone who's stepped outside of the realms of creating music. We'll continue on this, but I'll say hello to the folks in the chat because I've been neglecting them. So if you'd like me to call your name now, say hi right now so I can make my job easier. Hello, Leela, Reality, Clayton Von Kluge. Hello, Mr. Smith. Hello, who else? Kim Harden Hudson. I saw Pete Johns here. Russ8889, who was on the show last week with his new album. Brad Example, Guzzo of Oz. Come on, guys, put your name in there so I can scroll up and find you as well. But it's easy if you just type something to let me know here. Thomas Christ, Joe Glenn, I saw was here as well. Gary Hubbs. Who else is here? Cold Acres. Hello, Cold Acre. I got Mr. Smith. So thank you all for being here today and hanging out with us. And I know people were really enjoying that live set. So I think I'll end a bit more on that live set because it was really cool. So let's talk a little bit about FMC, shall we? I know there's people who are going to want to know about it. I was digging up last night through some of my old collection of stuff, and I found the old FMC website. And here it is in all its glory. So this used to be up in the day. This was 2001. I think, can I make it bigger? See if I can make it a bit bigger. There we go. The actual old FMC. It was filthymaggotycunt.com. It's highly original. So there's the album you could actually get. Can I make... I've made it too big now. There we go. Let's make it a little bit smaller. So here was the original album. And here's the video, which you just found too. Look at this. Christian has a copy of the Anal Cave Tour VHS tour that we did. And on that video, a guy jumped up on stage and punched me in the head. It was brilliant stuff. We actually went on tour. So we actually went to Adelaide. We hired a tour bus. We went all the way to Adelaide and we took a bag of bread rolls that were shaped as a penis and we gave them out to people in the audience, and then a guy punched me in the head halfway through our set. Fond memories for you, Christian, of FMC?
Absolutely. Some amazing memories. That tour was incredible. It was shocking. And I mean... from what I remember, after that happened, was there like some kind of like all in brawl, like it was a saloon from a Western film.
There
It's just
was.
like I remember the promoter picking up a massive pot plant, and throwing it through the window, and everyone just stopped. And he's like, "Okay, get back to it."
Oh man, but one of the funniest bits for me was we drove into Adelaide, right? We had all these penis bread rolls and we tuned into the local Adelaide radio and they were taking requests on the radio and we rang up and asked them to play We Built This City on Rock and Roll and they actually we rang up and said, "Can you? We're FMC. We're from Melbourne. Can you play? We built this." And they actually recorded the phone call and played it back. And my lord, it was so ridiculous throwing out penis bread rolls to these metalheads and watching them chewing on dicks in the audience. And I think that guy cottoned on. I think he was like, "Hang on, are you throwing dicks out and calling us all gay?" And so we had all these photos from here, like of us. This is our tour bus that got graffitied when we were in Horsham. Somebody drew a penis on the side of our tour bus. Not true, but we thought it was funny. And there's so many photos of us asleep. That we are asleep in the tour bus. There's me out of it. And you wrote some amazing stuff here. Some of this, I'm thinking of putting this website back online. There we are with Santa Claus. It was around.
Oh wow!
Man, this website has a treasure trove of garbage on it. Absolute rubbish. If I go to the cast, these are all the band members in FMC. So here was me. I'm going to have to be quick here and censor some of this because there's some nudity. But the irony is my character was Sister Fister and I was transgender. And the way it all turned out in reality wasn't far from the truth, was it?
Yeah, amazing. Yeah,
And I have to admit, I used FMC as a vehicle, to test the waters, kind of thing.
yeah.
There's my character. Here's your character here, the cast. You were cock smoking crack whore. There you are.
Yeah, yeah.
In all your glory there, with knee pads on your elbows. Yeah, look. It was a demented band. We had a lot of fun doing it, and we got banned from a lot of places too, didn't we? Jesus Christ!
Yeah, yeah.
I think
what we were doing was, around that time in Melbourne, the scene it just seemed to be pretty stale. There was this kind of leftover kind of punk scene, and then there was this sort of the metal scene, and then there was the hardcore punk scene, and they were just so serious, and it was like it was boring. It was also like it was all like blokes playing music, serious blokes, and it was just like there was no like room for kind of any other like deviancy or like any kind of cross gender sort of thing. It was just boring, and I think some of the shows that we did, and we had people come up and crying with laughter, going, I remember there was someone who had lost their partner recently, like a year before that, and they said, "I haven't like laughed in a whole year, and this is like I cannot stop laughing at you guys. You're terrible." But I mean, that was the other thing. I think, sure, we had songs. Oh, there's Marita.
Yeah,
wow.
Marita.
Yeah, sure, we had songs, but it was much more about in between the songs. It was more like what was happening between us all, and the crowd, and this way of, having feedback. I mean, a lot of people booed, a lot of people cheered. People threw food and stuff like that. But it was just a really, at the time, it was so stale in Melbourne. And, I find, since then, the scene is, much, had changed, and this kind of element of fun and comedy kind of came back in. And I think what we were doing here was really sort of influential for a lot of like, grind and metal bands and punk bands as well. A lot of people, were really shocked, but they also like, things lightened up after that. It was easier to take the piss, and it was easier to, you know, have fun and have a party on stage, fool around, play pranks and all that.
Absolutely. It was a really serious time. And we did shows where we did unplugged acoustic shows. We did a boy band show at that Health, whatever it was, that upstairs joint. You name it, we did it. You know, one gig we did, we dipped one of their microphones in a jar of Nutella, and they weren't happy about it. They're very pissed off about it.
Didn't we get escorted off stage?
Yes, we got escorted. We got told at the Greyhound we're never allowed to come back again. This gig especially, this was an Easter gig, and we just showed it. There's a close-up of some raw hamburgers. There they are. I was eating raw hamburgers on stage for Baby Jesus, and I think there's a line you say in this. We've got some sound for this.
Feels better. Now he's boiling.
It's pretty bad.
Has anyone ever fucking woke up in the middle of the night and just gone, fuck, I wish I had a girlfriend? I know, I'll just pop over to 24 Hour Safeway, get a box of tissues, take it home, pull all the fucking tissues out, fill it full of liver, and then just fuck it. The box forever. You read my mind! Well, I suppose that's why this song's called Tissue Love Box.
Most normal people hack apart some old person's head and penetrate that with their genitalia. Sorry.
I should introduce the band before we go on.
The good thing about FMC was we never practiced any of the songs, and so we fucked up every song, and that was part of the joke. That was what was fun about it. While we're talking of FMC, I do have this because I think this is worthwhile to talk about. We actually decided to raid a record label, and it was Roadrunner Records. They're a big label, you know, in the metal scene. They opened a branch here in Australia, and we decided to go there and take a promo pack and just roll up unannounced and see if they would sign us. And there's a video of this as well, which is pretty disturbing. This is part of it, which is us downstairs going through the rubbish bins to make our costume. You, especially Christian, you literally climbed into a dumpster and made your costume from a dumpster. From octopus straps, cardboard boxes. There's me in all my ridiculous idiocy. Where's your costume, if I can find it? And we just rolled up and totally, there's you with whatever the fuck you are wearing there.
The old pump, bike pump.
And so, yeah, we just rolled into these guys' office. I'll forward it, where we just rolled in unannounced, completely unannounced, and we just forced these poor assholes to take our promo pack.
This is chainsaw Charlie, but we couldn't afford a chainsaw. And that's cock-smoking crack whore. He likes cracking babies.
Absolutely, yeah. 4-3 nostalgia, absolutely. This old video. But I remember this got actually notoriety in Metal Hammer magazine. Even they said that we raided Roadrunner Records. Incredible times, completely different era. But look, it was at the same time, while you were, as I said earlier, conducting jazz bands in our quiet time, that's the kind of shenanigans we were getting up to. And it was great fun. I miss these days. So from that, we did another. So we had another act called Utensils, which, as I said, we started work on using PlayStation to make music. And you mentioned it earlier how we started this thing, guys. So where we had a whole bunch of random people roll up to a town hall, and we had a whiteboard, and we would just draw stuff on the board and try and get these people to make music who didn't know each other. And we'd record it and try and make albums out of it. Did it work?
I think so.
I've still got all the 4-track tapes of all this stuff. So one day we
Do you
just
still have a 4-track?
No, I don't. But I've been looking at them, but they're so expensive, man. They're like $900 for an old Tascam 4-track these days on eBay.
Yeah.
Like, why?
I'm Yeah, devastated. I took mine to an op shop, gave it away, and then I think it was like a week later, just went, that was the worst thing I've ever done.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because
Now I've got shopping bags full of 4-track tapes, and yeah.
same here. It's ridiculous. All right, let me get my bearings. We've had a chat about FMC. I don't want to harp on FMC too long because it is an annoying band. So from there, though, you began touring, and not just touring around Melbourne and shit like that. You actually started touring around the world, man. Tell us how you got into that, because you were playing all across Europe. Doing. Tell us. It was amazing.
Sort of after that, once I started writing music on a computer, and I got rid of the 20-piece jazz band, and started writing some music, and I had so many different influences, but and I think some stuff went online, and people were like, oh, that sounds like it's kind of breakcore, and I was like, what is that? Like, I didn't think. What was fun about making music was that it didn't exist in a genre, but then people were like, no, it's this genre. So it kind of got lumped with that, but I didn't mind. And then started putting on parties in Melbourne, and playing some up in Sydney. Started, back in the day, I think it was early MySpace or something, and connecting to other people all around the world, writing this kind of bedroom music that wasn't, very relaxing at all, but it's just like everyone was pretty pov and just had a studio in their bedroom, which was just basically stereo speakers and a computer if you were lucky.
Yeah.
And then it was just like this online community, the start of like online communities through sort of subcultures, and it was great. To connect. There was probably 20 people in Melbourne, making that sort of stuff, or 20 people in Australia. Like, it was pretty quiet early on, and but there was much more people internationally doing different things. So you'd connect through, over long distance that way. And then I ended up, taking my music overseas, and it was a bit of a shock to go from, playing a party here, and you get like 30 people in the club or the pub or the bowls center or wherever you were playing, abandoned warehouse or whatever, and of those 30 people, 15 of them were either cops or weren't meant to be there. They just made the wrong turn. So going from those parties here in Australia to over to Europe, where there were like thousands of people, and it was just so weird because I'd never experienced like that many people into this like underground, subgenre, and it was really awesome. This kind of broad community of weirdos, that were into music, and yeah, there were a few points where I flew in, to a country, and people would meet me with a sign, and they'd be fans, and I'd be like totally shocked
Yes.
that there would be a fan in the world that would like my music, So yeah, touring was, and being, the Australian, coming from Australia, people were so generous and supportive of all the music. But Australia had this like really unique kind of sort of tongue-in-cheek kind of fun about their music. This sort of early breakcore stuff. There was a lot of these labels, Bloody Fist and System Corrupt, and many more. But there was just this, a lot of Australian music seemed to have this lighter edge to it. And rather than be like a really dark, goth, serious kind of industrial party, it would kind of be like anything goes. And so, yeah, it was a really fun time. And really interesting, people. I've met some amazing people who I'm, still great friends with to this day, through traveling. And yeah, the first tour was with Toe Cutter, my friend Toe Cutter from Sydney, and we got invited to go and play Moscow and Newcastle, UK, and Brighton, and Lyon, France, and Rennes, France, and Graz, Austria, and Berlin, Germany, and so many places. And some of them were just complete dives and squats where, we finished the gig and we had to huddle together to keep warm to sleep because it was like winter. It wasn't like hotel rooms or anything like that. It was really, really rough, but it was so much fun. And so, yeah, a lot of these people friends to this day, and it's been nice to write new music and be able to send stuff to people that knew you in a different form back in the day. So it's I'm really looking forward to touring again and playing music, whether that's here or overseas.
Well, I'm going to play some of this music from a compilation of yours. I'm going to play a few tracks because I really dig this old stuff, and then we'll come back and talk about destroying art, because this is a thing. It's definitely a thing for I see amongst obscure artists, or artists that think outside the box. That whatever you've made in the past kind of can get chewed up and destroyed and turned into something else. So this is from, I'm going to bring this up here, a compilation of compilations, it says. Where are we? There we go. So I'm going to play a few tracks from this, and some of you will notice some of the sampling in this. So I'm going to play a track called Molten Metal Up Your Ass. I'm going to play Epileptic Avenue, and I'm going to play a track called Bung, which is a word that is an Australian word which has a lot of meaning. You could get cancelled for it these days. All right, so we'll be back with you shortly, guys. So enjoy these 3 tracks. Let me mute this. There we go. Let me mute that. And we'll play these 3 tracks, all right, guys? So we'll see you back shortly in just a moment. Enjoy the tracks, because there are some really, really, really cool samples in these tracks. All right, let's do it.
End of the 60s, I was in a 2-man group. We were like heavy metal. We were going to destroy the world with amplification. I want to rock!
For so long.
Man, you're still a terrorist. Man,
There you go.
you are an absolute audio terrorist. I love it. Didn't we used to call ourselves that in utensils? It was like audio terrorism.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
So there you go. That is, I can't even call it breakcore. It's like, it's sheer noise terror, man. See, this kind of stuff I love. You know, and I've always loved this kind of stuff. So, and I'm sure there's people who are listening to that going, "What the fuck? I'm totally fucking terrorized now." And that's the way it should be.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
And that's the way it should be.
You could have just muted it.
You should be terrorized by music. It should create an emotion from you. So I want to talk about your art as well. So I'm going to bring up here. Where are we? Let's do this. Because tell us a little bit about Christian Bishop art, christianbishop.art.
It's just a website to just keep track of some of my visual art projects. That's a picture of me at the printmaking studio at RMIT University with their amazing presses that they have there. If you see that like stunning machine, which is like, look, I'm pretty sure it's like 200 years old. Like it's incredible, you know. But anyway, the website is just documenting my exhibitions and artworks, and it's as you can see, a lot of the work is about the landscape. So there's a lot of maps and reliefs, and then there's also a whole bunch of structures with sticks. And some prints, and the sticks. I really enjoy working with the crudeness of organic materials, and being able to most of these materials are like hoarding panels that I've stolen, concrete, wood, resin, clay, and they're kind of like that object there is like a maquette of a building, and so I'm really interested in how our landscape has changed, and coming from a sort of country town, I guess, that's now, look, I don't think anything's over 4 stories there. Recreating this kind of idea of construction and building, and using that as a bit of a playground to explore the natural world, or what is and isn't the natural world. So a lot of these objects are how the landscape has been interfered with through by mankind. And it's there's a lot of different mediums there. That hexagon work there is that's made from cast concrete, and
wow, it's beautiful.
I've got it's really heavy.
I'll bet. It looks heavy as fuck.
Yeah.
What's it being held up with there? Like full on.
Yeah, like kind of shackles, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's like stainless steel that's like reinforced through the concrete. I really enjoy, this idea of construction being also a really primitive sort of expression of order in a sense. And then, yeah, these are some exhibitions that I've had over the last few years. That's up at Wagga Wagga, the big regional gallery up there. And it was really fun to play, in that space with the works. Galleries to me are pretty tame kind of places that are usually white or they're very neutral, and they can be pretty boring really. And so I like to create an immersive experience for people to wander through and explore. I spend a lot of time exploring landscapes, and I want to kind of recreate that sort of way of engaging with finding objects and sort of being in the space yourself. It's I really think that there's a lot that people can explore through experience rather than just viewing. So yeah, that's kind of my practice there. I don't know if I explained it very well. That artwork there is like
That's evil.
that's like a 15-year-old weed mat that I excavated from a park in West Melbourne. And I actually got quite sick from that because I think there were like some evil spores in it or something.
It looks incredible. It looks like something from Evil Dead, man. It looks full on.
Yeah. So inside that that sort of structure was a landscape that I recreated in the park, and there was also a video that was projecting onto these objects. And what was really nice was on the opening night for this exhibition, some people asked me, "Can they go in it?" And I was like, "Of course! It's like it's for you to explore." And so people ended up going in it and sitting in there. And at one stage, there were like, maybe, half a dozen people sitting in there drinking. And they left all their stubbies in there. And I just left them through the duration of the exhibition because it was kind of looking at a section of land that I've been exploring. And of course, it's full of human waste. And so it was kind of like how we treat, these little liminal spaces that are in our cities, like parks or railways, alongside railway lines or nature strips and things like that, where, I found a lot of exciting, a microcosm of these other things within these spaces. So, yeah, and some of the work got trampled in there as well, but that's what I was trying to achieve. So, yeah, it was fun for that.
Yeah, I think it's incredible. I really loved watching this whole thing grow. When I saw it on Facebook, I'm like, oh my God, you're doing installations and stuff, because it just seemed like the perfect extension for you to go to this after, touring and doing all this music and now getting to this. What's going to happen next? What are you going to like combine music with this kind of thing? I mean, that's got to be the next place you're going to go. Is that something you've thought of?
Yeah. I'm kind of working on that at the moment, and although through the lockdowns, my visual art practice kind of took a back seat, and the music sort of was at the forefront of my practice. But it's something that I'm exploring now, and having the space and the time and the thought to look into what it is in making art and combining these two areas that I hadn't really used before. I mean, some of those installations did have sound, but I'm kind of looking at some new ideas on how sounds are made and triggered. And I'm also looking at this crossover between like rave culture and this way of exploring spaces through exploring them yourself, and the weird and wonderful things like that you find, So yeah, it's something I'm working on now to kind of combine these two elements together.
Yeah, I've become incredibly interested myself, and I can't talk about it at the moment because about doing something gallery-wise for my next musical project. But again, it all got put on hold. I had all these big plans. It got put on hold because of COVID. Hopefully, I can get back to finishing and I can tell you about it some stage off air. But here is also another thing which is really cool about Bacchus Harsh. You release vinyl.
Yes, that came out mid last year. Look, just a bit of product placement there.
How do we get a hold of the vinyl? Through Bandcamp?
Well, probably the best way is Bandcamp. Yeah, Bandcamp. You can just buy it. All the proceeds go, to myself, which I'm, as opposed to a label. So yep. I'm really excited. And it's a double LP on marbled metallic silver vinyl.
Nice.
And beautiful pressing. And it was mastered by Bob Mack in the UK, who did a lot of early kind of Reflex Records, sort of crossover, jungly breakcore kind of stuff. But he's very versatile in what he does, and so I was really excited he was on the project as well. But yeah, you can find it on Bandcamp, and you can buy it digitally as well, or you can just listen to it.
Oh
so yeah, that was some fun pictures there. Sorry about that, folks.
That's your Instagram, so
yeah.
You also have a website for Bacchus Harsh as well, don't you? Which is bacchusharsh.com.
Yeah, I've got some stories up there, which is in the log. So stories of being influenced by music growing up, it has been a really fun project to kind of write about, why growing up in a small town can be, can be quite exciting and fun. It mightn't seem like it while you're there, but it's my sort of story. So it probably explains a lot, but also maybe people resonate with it as well, and don't feel so bad about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I don't regret my time in Bacchus Marsh. Why? Because I got to meet you, and I've got to make so much great music with you, and you've, as I said at the beginning of the show, you've inspired so much of my outlook to step outside the box, because I used to be a very generic metalhead when we met, and it opened my eyes and ears. And now I'm still doing utensils. I mean, I just released a new utensils album 2 weeks ago.
I saw that. Fantastic.
Which I just used 6 notes to make 6 tracks in an hour live on the show. And if it wasn't for our time in utensils doing all that, I still wouldn't be doing utensils, I just love fucking with people's minds musically, because music doesn't have to follow rules. So I think that's one of the things that's drawn me to you with rules. There really doesn't have to be rules for music. And if you are following rules, stop, break them.
Yeah. Make your own rules and then break those.
Yeah, and then break those again. So what else do I need to do? So I've covered your gallery, Bacchus Harsh, so people can get that. What I want to do, I'm going to do something a bit different today. I want to close out with a long stint of the rest of your performance, because I think people are really enjoying that too. Cool. And I know there was another performance I had. Let me try and find it. I'm just going through there was a Kiss FM one. I don't know what was going on with the video. I'll try and find it. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh yeah, I was invited on to Kiss FM to talk about my album and have a chat with Tim Byrne, the station manager and the creator of Kiss FM, and an old friend as well. And so it was really nice to be in a fancy, studio,
Yeah.
play some of my music and have a chat about it. Like today, it's pretty, it's pretty special to be able to, make music and art, but it's much more special to be able to talk about it and share it with people. So yeah, so that was pretty fun. It's a pretty boring video of my back and some CDJs or turntables. So yeah, it's that's it. Yeah.
I think there was something else I was going to play. Hang on a minute. So there's that, but there was this clip here. Is it this one? I forgot the right one. Visuals, yeah? Is it this one here? No, is that it? No, there's another one.
Oh yeah, that's the one I was looking for yesterday.
Really? What's this?
Yeah, that's an old video of a live set at Pony.
Far Out Pony. Jeez, that's a blast from the past.
Me looking youthful and clean shaven.
How old's this, man? This is...
That'd be about, let's say, 12 years old. About 2010.
But there's something else that you sent me too, and I don't know why I can't find it now. Was it a black metal band or some kind of band that you had done visual for?
Oh yeah, Geld. Yeah, I directed a film clip for their album last year, that came out early last year, and most of the let me see.
What was the name of the song?
Forces.
Let's do that. Forces. It's Geld.
Geld Forces. Geld's a Melbourne, amazing Melbourne kind of hardcore punk band.
There it is. There. That's it. Yeah. That's it.
And yeah, this video was filmed in Finland at the start of 2019, I think it was, or 2020. And while I was on residency, I did all this filming there, and it was like at that point it's at night. It was minus 20 degrees, and the camera froze up. The memory cards just mysteriously weren't existent. It was so cold, and so it's pretty basic. It's all analog effects, basically a torch, and a bunch of sticks in a field. I had some assistance from my partner Anna, and we nearly froze to death. But
when I watched it, it reminded me of like a Twin Peaks film, like the Black Lodge or something.
Thanks. Yeah. Like this sort of intro scene is probably a bit more sort of meandering kind of torchlight, but then it jumps into quite sort of abstract kind of movements of light and sticks.
Sticks.
Got a thing for sticks.
Yeah. Excellent.
So yeah, some of these like sculptures I'd made and installed in the fields, and then had gone back at night to film them.
I'm going to put a link to this in the chat for people to go and watch. There you go, guys. All right, so we're going to probably wrap this up, and I'm going to ask you my final kind of last... Oh, what I actually want to ask you before we do, let's just fade this out, is Gotta love some black metal. So what gear do you use to actually record? What software are you using to record on your computer? What's your go-to software?
I use Ableton Live a
Yep.
lot. I just find it's something that you can tailor to your needs. You can kind of build it up to how you want to use it. I really love Ableton. I think it's a pretty special program. A lot of people I know use it, but they are able to, you know, craft and mold it into how they want to use it, and that's what I think is pretty awesome about it. That it can be used very differently by people. It could be used as a kind of recording studio, or it can be used as a mixing desk, or it can be used for sampling. It can be used for synthesis. So that's kind of the software I use. I've been using the Ableton Push as a MIDI triggering device, which has been pretty amazing. Also, you can tailor that to work how you want it, and I'm really into things that you can adapt to use your way, as opposed to having one way to use it. On top of that, I run a sound card, which is like a Fast Track Pro, which is pretty old. It's probably 15 years old, but it's so simple and it works really well. Sometimes live I'll have a small mixer. I'll have a mic running into that. I've just bought myself a Electron Octatrack, like a dynamic multi-channel sampler,
Right.
which is pretty complex, and I've had it a couple of months now, and it's such a steep learning curve, so that you probably won't hear for a while. So yeah, the Octatrack, Electron Octatrack.
Did I not put Octatrack? There we go. Let's do that.
And but yeah, it's quite, it's a small unit, and I want to start looking at using a different tool to make sounds. So that was the idea with that. Also, the idea of breaking it in a sense of like moving out of the sort of strict 16 note bars and things like that. You can really mess around with the patterns that are created, and like Ableton as well, you can really sort of deviate from what it was meant to be used for. So yeah, that's kind of about it. With gear, I've recently been, I don't know if you've heard of Melbourne Electronic Synth Studio. They're in it's kind of like half a museum, half a workshop, where you can go in there and they have an incredible collection of instruments and synthesizers, samplers, pedals, and you can book in a time and you can just mess around and play and record. And that's been a really exciting way to engage with new gear. Instead of having to buy it, you can go in and you can kind of just hire it and use it. And I mean, if it's something that you really love, you can go and buy it, or you can just go there and use it.
Wow, I've not heard of this place. This is cool. So what's it? Just a huge space that you can just go in and create, and they've got like Eurorack basic workshops and stuff.
Yeah,
sick.
And they're doing some really amazing things with the community. So it's been a pleasure to sort of be able to use that, and also speak to people who know what they're doing. And one of the nice things is as well is they really like breaking rules, and they want you to experiment with um, changing things and not just going by how you're meant to using it, how you're meant to be using it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool. I didn't even know this place even existed. That's wicked.
Yeah.
So it looks like there's a video on it. What is mess?
Yep.
Let's have a look at. We've got some pictures here of it, so we'll just. That's a bit of an explanation. We won't let him talk, but here we go. Wow! So this gear is just laying there just for you to.
Yeah. So a lot of
Wow.
people donate the gear, and people find that there's a lot of people that collect all this, but it sits there. Not everyone can. It's not something you use every day, and so in donating it means that it's available for other people. It's looked after. It's repaired. It's respected, and so yeah, it's so nice to be involved and be able to use stuff like this without feeling like you've got to fork out to buy it or you don't know enough. It's kind of really there to just experiment with, basically.
That's awesome. I even saw there's a theremin in there as well too.
Yeah.
That's sick.
And the theremin was the first synthesizer. Like before, they created the synthesizer, and before they had keys for it, it was used as a theremin. So there's a big.
Russ
really
has asked, how
interesting
much
history.
do they charge? Do they charge? What's the deal?
Yeah, like there's a membership fee, like an annual membership fee.
Right.
I can't remember what it is, but it's pretty reasonable. And then it's quite cheap, to go in, for a day, and on top of your so $200 for a year.
Wow,
But
lifetime $10,000.
Yeah, but some people just really want to contribute and help support them, because it's such a good thing, and they've done it all on their own, with the help of like other people who are interested in using gear to create music.
Incredible. It's so good to see Victoria still leading the way with things like this, because Victoria's always really been amazing for the arts and push stuff like this. And even through the inconvenience to know something like this is still happening is brilliant.
Yeah.
With all the venues closing down all around the world, like venues are closing down, and to know there are spaces like this happening, that's just awesome. Well, you've taught me something new today, which is
there
awesome.
There you go. Yeah.
So I'm going to hit you with the last question today, and I want to thank you firstly for spending some time so early in the morning, my friend. Thank you for getting up, and I know you were a bit sick last night. It nearly didn't happen. I was like, yes, thank God it did.
I woke up feeling great. I don't know what happened. I think it was like food poisoning or something, and I don't know.
But we got here. So
we got here.
My final
thanks
question.
Thanks everyone for tuning in too.
Yeah, look, and thank you for sharing your music, and thank you for being inspirational in my life and being you've been a huge part in my musical development. So
I'd say you too, Jade. Like you for me, yeah, absolutely. It's great to be able to talk about it and share it with people too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll hit you with the last question that I hit everybody with. If somebody, in your opinion, was considering becoming creative, when would you suggest be the best time for them to start?
Just start. Just now or a week ago. It's something that, you often hear that some people are naturals, but, it's all about, committing to something. And, at times it seems frustrating and difficult, and that you might not get there, but as you continue, the points you want to reach to, you eventually get there. And I think that it can save you from a lot of frustration and depression and loneliness as well. It's not just the actual making of it. There's the communities around it as well. it's such a and it's just the more time you put into it, the more reward you get. I feel like yeah, it's of course you can sometimes go overboard and spend way too much time, but it's like anything. It's like you're only really doing it because you enjoy it, and so it's worth focusing. And whether that's like reaching out to get assistance and help from other people, or meeting people in that field, you know researching other artists, or like places like Mess or studios that do share, that they help educate you, and they help you with a community. And yeah, look, it's something that it totally has saved my life. It's, I don't know where I don't, yeah, I can't even like understand where I would be without it. It's just something that is so important, and a part of me that it's just yeah, it's just there. So it's I encourage anyone to explore what it means to them, and how to get there. Never give up.
Never give up. I agree 100%. So, guys, all of Christian's links are in the description. Links to, go and grab the Bacchus Harsh album. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. In fact, I'm going to do it right now. I won't do it on camera, actually, because you'll get all my details. I still do impulsive, dumb things sometimes. Then I have to go back and like crop out all my personal bank details. What an idiot I am. But what we're going to go out with today is we're going to continue on with this live performance that you did from your house, because I know I was really digging it. I really loved watching it the other night. So we'll play another, I don't know, for 5 or 6 minutes of it. So if you want to hang on the line with me, just stay on the line. Once the show's over, we'll have a quick catch up before you go. Yep. So this is taken from this live set, which was in September 10, 2021. Again, thank you, Christian. All the links are down there. Go subscribe. Go
Thank you, Jade.
Download his stuff. Get it all into you. Because
thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, guys, for being here. As always, I'll be back on the weekend to do a opening hour, singing some karaoke classics for a bit of fun. And then
Awesome.
next week coming up, I'm kicking off a new series, recording in GarageBand, a brand new Dread Circus song. So hopefully you guys can join me for that, and all the trials and tribulations of recording a song from scratch. And here we go. Let's play some tunage, and we'll see you all again soon. Remember, do the things that make you happy. Mistakes make you better, and we will all rise together. See you later, Christian. Thank you so much. Thanks, you all. Jade. Let's do it. Boom.